my back hurts. What's up, everybody? I should just while playing a video game today. That would be so dumb. I should probably focus. Let me focus. We're in a good mood today. It's been a pretty good, okay day. Anxious about some things, but we'll just have fun with it all. I'm actually gonna try playing a game while I do this. I don't have much time either today. Actually no. We'll get about a normal 10-minute podcast. Come to think of it, actually, no, we'll do that tomorrow. I'm thinking about uploading these to Spotify. Let me know if you guys would enjoy me uploading these to Spotify. What I want to say to everybody today, my phone's over there, but I want to talk about. So we at church today we talked about. First of all, I took notes at church today, which is really, really nice. I think writing at church is like a really good thing a person should do. And while at church, we talked about fixing our eyes on Jesus. And we talked about this thing in John 3. I think it was John 3. What's it called? What passage was that? I'm blanking now. John 3. 14 and 15. That's what it was. All right, I was blanking. But yeah, John 3 was we talked about how Jesus is talking to Nicodemus. This is right before he says the famous John 3:16 passage. But he's talking to Nicodemus, one of the church leaders, or the not church leaders, I guess religious leaders at the time. And he says to him, Jesus says to him, like, hey, if you want eternal life, the Son of Man must be raised on high, just as the bronze serpent was. And if you don't know, that's a reference to Numbers 21. That's what we talked about at church today. And I say all that to say, there's this really cool thing in Christianity called typology. And what typology is this, like, it's like these like links of where like something happens in the text that isn't a prophecy, but it's used typologically. I guess I can't use the word in the definition, but to point to Jesus ultimately. Like, Jesus is fulfilling the story of Israel, or he is Israel, and he's paralleling them. It's like, oh, look how this points to this. It's like not necessarily a prophecy, but he's fulfilling this thing. And that's really cool. So, the story of the bronze serpent, Jesus, or this bronze serpent talks about how the Israelites complain, and so they get bit by these serpents because they're complaining to God, and these serpents put poison in them, and some of them start dying. So then they repent, and they like, hey, we want to be saved from this. And so Moses builds this statue of a bronze serpent, and he puts it up, and whoever looks at the serpent will be saved. Now, of course, this is a very religious themed episode for me today, but I say all this to kind of get the precursors out the way of the coolness of this story to me, and what I've just been thinking about as I struggle with my own sin of lust, just things like that, like lust, pride, self-centeredness, and like how that's my own monster. And Cain, in the story of Cain and Abel in the Bible, I have these like monster, or God says like to Cain before he goes Abel, that there's a monster in you. And this monster is supposed to be like the sin, just as the venom in these people are resembled to the venom in us, the sickness or thing that's killing us and leading us to death, which is our sin, the areas. And if you're not a religious person, think of sin as areas where you fall short. Areas of like I said, pride, lust, areas where you look back and you're like, I know I could have done better, guilt, things like that. Those things are a disease that are a part of human nature. And just as the bronze serpent is lifted, the Son of Man is lifted. So if you're not a religious person, think of it like in the context of like there's the hope that drains the venom from you, or the sickness from you. Of course, I believe that's Jesus. If you're not religious, you might view it a different context, but I say all this to say, sorry, the really, really cool part about all this is the thing that we're all chasing is, or I think at least that I'm chasing often, is a freedom. And I think if you've listened to every episode of all of these podcasts, you can clearly tell that this is not the way Shane wants to be. Shane wants to be free from this. Shane wants to be, and I say want as in, of course, I don't want to change. I don't want to go through the hardship and struggles of changing as a person. Excuse me, but I necessarily need to get to the point that I think I should be at, or that I think the point of freedom that a human wants, of that authenticity in self. Somebody, he said a quote today, is like, glance at the world but gaze at God. I think that's a good way of frameworking, or even better, pride and insecurity are two sides of the same coin, which is self-centeredness. That's not to say people won't have insecurities and people won't be prideful, that they're always necessarily bad, as long as it's grounded in the humility of truth. I would say insecurities are always necessarily bad. Pride, I think if you take pride in an action you've done, but know that that action is ultimately for a good, specifically, like, in a Christian perspective, bring glory to God and stuff like that, that's okay. Anyways, yeah, I just think the thing that we're ultimately all chasing is like a sense of freedom. That is not hard. Just look at the serpent. You know what I mean? Look at the Son of Man raised on high. Fix your eyes to God, whatever that is to you. I would say, of course, and I would urge people to say it's Jesus. I don't want my Christian brothers and sisters coming at me being like, he's not telling people the gospel. I am very grounded and sure the gospel is 100% true. But I want people to realize that, like, what you perceive or what you look towards is what you will what is the word there? Imitate. There we go. And so, like, let's imitate good things. Let's imitate holy things. Let's imitate things of love. Let's imitate things that are real. Let's imitate things of honesty. We all put ourselves this, like, wall in front of us from... We all want shortcuts to get around the wall in front of us instead of just tearing the wall down. And we try to take these shortcuts, but we're surrounded by this wall that's around us, and we can just knock it down. And I hate that I'm saying this like this. I need to turn off my teacher front. And what I mean by that is I have this will to want to teach people and educate people and love on people in that way from the things I'm learning. But sometimes I need to learn to just shut my mouth and just learn and listen. And it's not all about me. It's not. And I need to stop. And that's just humanity sometimes, dude. Which is so dumb. This is like, I guess this isn't dumb. This is a beauty, because I'm telling you all these things about, like, how I fail. This whole podcast has been a thing about how I fail. I fall short. I mess up. I'm broken. And I'm like, dude, there's a beauty in the humanity of all this. It's like, dude, even in this where I'm like critiquing myself, in the critique of myself, as long as it's not beating myself up, it's beautiful. We should critique ourselves. We should want to be better. We should be these people who are set on being better. Those are like beautiful, good things. I was saying all that, and I just got wildly insecure because I know I haven't been. Before I went to church today, I messed up, and I still haven't repented for it. And I'm like, sitting here letting something eat me instead of just being honest or talk to God about it. I have the opportunity, and this is what we do as people. We do this all the time. I sat with a friend yesterday, and he told me, somebody sent in a group chat about an event he's going to, and it's supposed to be all guys, or at least it was suspected to be all guys. And then they said that some people were like, we're bringing dates, and he got outraged before he asked questions. If there's a problem, ask the question. I didn't think we were bringing dates. If we bring dates, I might not want to come. When did we decide that we were doing this? Why are we doing this? Like, get the ground knowing. Existing in your outrage. I saw a video the other day of a guy giving, I guess, like, one of those informative Instagram reels or whatever, and it was him kissing his wife, and his wife was, I'm just not in the mood right now, and he was like, oh, and he rolled over in anger, and that was him critiquing himself, talking about how your wife's going to view this, how you're going to view this, basically a conversation about how a man should respond, or how a person should respond to their partner saying, I don't want to be physically intimate right now, of course, in the confines of marriage. And then the men in the comments were crazy, and the women in the comments were going crazy at the men. They were just like, the man in the video, passive object. The men in the comments didn't passive object. And I just commented, and I hate that I commented, honestly, There's another critique of myself, because I'm like, maybe I'm doing this for the approval of the women, because I'm insecure about the idea that I feel like no one wants to be with me, and no woman wants me. And see, even there, like, I'm giving you a grain of truth. I doubled down on it because I just want to be honest. I want to be honest about how I feel about women. I've said it before in other podcasts. I don't think women want to be with me. I think I'm like I think I'm what turns women off. I don't know any woman that wants me. And so because I don't know any woman that wants me, I don't feel like anyone does, which is so dumb. But like it's real. I just feel that way. Anyways, but I'm like I regret posting it, but I'm just like to me, we miss the nuance when we confess in tribalism. That's why I love Christianity. You know, my church is doing the thing for Easter where in Easter work it's called Good News for every tribe and every tongue. You know, uh, sorry, but I say all that to say, yeah, I guess so I could summarize this. Sorry, this is longer than I thought it was gonna be. Um, uh, Look to things that you really wish to imitate. Imitate things that are good, so you can be better. Perceive things that are good. Look to things that are good. Gaze of the world, or uh, I forget what it was already. Gloss at the world, gaze at God, something like that, something like that. And then kill our teacher fronts. We don't all have to be teachers. We can be students too. I need to kill mine clearly. And then patience, I guess, is the last key point. I do these like 3 key point things now, like it's like a sermon. If you notice, every title has 3 things I say. So I guess those are the 3 key points for today. Thanks.